Let's see. It's hard to know when it starts exactly, but I think we are live. Yes, we are. Welcome, everyone, to day 31 of Thriving in the Face of Cancer. I'm your host, Chef AJ, and every day for the past 30 days, I spoke to top doctors and other healthcare professionals, as well as people who have survived cancer, who gave insights on how you too can thrive even in the face of cancer. I don't want to say I saved the best for last, but I saved something very special for last. Today's guest is Mark Ideta, who has single-handedly helped me tame my anxiety, which I have suffered from my entire life. We'll also be joined by my dear friend and former sous chef, Rebecca, who will be doing a demonstration with Mark to explain the work he does, because I can't explain it. It's kind of like if you asked me how to explain the taste of chocolate. I know chocolate tastes good, but I cannot possibly tell you how. I do want to tell you that our internet was down, which is why we're starting the show late. If anything happens, we will come back at 3 p.m. Pacific time in order to complete today's show, but we're hoping that the internet gods are smiling upon us. Before I introduce Mark, I want to bring back my dear friend, Dr. Matt Letterman, who's been helping me with my cancer journey, to kind of explain why this might be important for somebody just in general. You don't have to have cancer. Please welcome back Dr. Matt Letterman. So how are you going to explain this? Because to me, it's so woo-woo, you know?
Yeah, hi AJ. Thanks for having me again, and I'm happy to be here. Remember when we first started talking, I said I need you to do one other thing. I need you to go to do some sessions with this guy Mark. It's going to feel really weird and crazy, and you'll probably judge it as woo-woo, but just do it because I told you, and come back and we'll talk in a couple of months and see how you're doing. And because you trust me, I believe you just did it and jumped right in. And if you had to describe, before I talk about it a little bit more, can you describe at all some of the differences in feelings now versus before you started working with Mark?
Well, the thing is I mean, if people look at the first video we did together where we reveal the cancer diagnosis and I'm just blubbering, obviously cancer, can make you have all kinds of emotions. I've just never been calmer. Like even today, when we got that notice that the internet was down, I wasn't happy about it, but I didn't freak out. I've never been able to manage my emotions as well. And I've tried everything. I've had anxiety I came out with anxiety. I was born with anxiety. And I've been to so many kind of psychiatrists and psychologists and, faith healers. And I even, I tried psychiatric medicines 25 years ago, everything to just kind of suppress the feeling of anxiety. But Mark taught me how to coexist with anxiety. So we're actually friends now. And now that we're friends, she doesn't really rear her head. This is the anxiety doll. The best way I can describe the work is watch the movie Inside Out 1 and 2. Now that she's been so calm lately, now I got all these other emotions that are coming up. But it's been incredible. And the thing that's so weird about it is, well, he's a very special human, which is why I call him the magic unicorn. And I didn't want to have him on because I'm afraid that once people find out about him, I'm not going to get my appointment, because every friend, and there's been 5 now that I've referred to him, is seeing him regularly. But it's just been really interesting working with him, because I love feeling calm, and just I don't know how to explain it, but it's one of those things that every time I see him, I'm like, this is stupid. This isn't, like, I go in there every session, even though I know and love him now, like, this is, and I don't know what to tell you. It's just been an amazing experience.
Yeah. And that's what I love, the example. I never heard that before about the chocolate. And if someone gave you a piece of chocolate and you liked it, even if you can't explain why you like it, you're going to probably want to keep eating it. And I think
Absolutely.
that's what, and it seems like that's what you're doing with Mark. You can't necessarily understand why you like it, but you're going to keep doing it.
Well, here's the thing. He's a very, even his work notwithstanding, he's just a very special human. And the way he interacts with people and the way he supports you. And, like, just like things like when I was getting my lung biopsy, texting me, and just like, he's a very special, unique human and very kind, but he's also doing something very powerful that it makes no sense to me. But here's the thing, if you have an infection and take an antibiotic, it doesn't matter if you know how the antibiotic works. You just want to get better. And that's kind of how I feel about his work.
Yeah. And that's the essence. I find this part, I'm going to explain it, that is a little bit confusing to people. is when I say the goal is to learn how to be with these feelings versus the goal being to try and make them go away. And people who traditionally treat and focus on anxiety, they're always trying to make it go away. And people who suffer from anxiety know that that doesn't work and that's not possible. In fact, anxiety is designed in our bodies so that when you don't listen, it just gets louder and louder. And if you try to ignore it or avoid it, it gets louder and louder because it's trying to help you, it's trying to protect you.
Mm.
So when it's counterintuitive, but when you learn how to be with it, it naturally will come and go and dissolve, and then it'll come back and it'll dissolve again. And it's this natural ebb and flow that can make life very enjoyable with it versus trying to make it go away, which actually just makes it worse.
It's so interesting because I spent so many years trying to help people with weight loss and food addiction. And I can teach calorie density and I can make recipes delicious. And some people had success, but very few kept the weight off forever. And that's because I feel like they weren't dealing with any of the emotional stuff, which I was not in a position to even offer them or teach since I wasn't dealing with my own emotional stuff. But it seems like all addiction is based on people not wanting to feel whatever feeling there is.
Yeah, and I think there's a few things to addiction, but this using these habits that you know are hurting you in some way to try and treat pain, and pain can be coming from many different places. And it's in trying to calm the body down the best you know how with whatever tools you have. And some people use food, but then there's also a disconnection from how you're feeling. And there's a lot of wisdom in your body, and it's going to tell you what you need to do and where you need to go. Sort of like putting two broken bones together, and your body heals them. Emotionally, there's a lot of wisdom as well. And if you can line up a lot of these parts and a lot of this connection, self connection, your body can finish the healing for you.
Mm.
So one of the things I think that Mark does that's really helpful is he helps you sort of flush out these different parts and align them so that then your body can naturally heal them. So and it's really fascinating too is that there's a lot of data now that's showing that your ability to deal with this emotion versus suppress the emotion affects how the immune system functions, how we fight cancer, how our ability to fight cancer increases or decreases, how inflammation in our body increases and decreases, how we show up with other people, and just a general sense of fight or flight and versus that sense of safety. So this is so important to do on so many levels that the people that are getting their diet right, but they're not doing this other work on the emotional side, they're only getting half of the health they could potentially get. And the people that just focus on the emotional side without doing the diet are only getting half of the health that they could get. And when you put all this together, something really magical happens.
Yeah. The thing I want to say about the work is that it's not like a pill where like you just take it and like one session is not going to cure or heal most people. And a lot of people, we live in a society now that people want a quick fix. The same thing with weight loss. They don't want to do the diet. They'd rather take the weight loss drugs and get results fast rather than results that will last. And this isn't the kind of thing. I mean, you can have a session and you may benefit, but if you got a lot of stuff, it takes you got to be willing to do it. I would say if somebody's not willing to commit to 10 or at least 5 sessions, they may not see any benefit because I think there's a part of all of us that's resistant to this. I don't know what that part is called, but I sure have that part because I'm always resistant every session, you know.
Yeah, yeah, and your ability to deal with feelings is, think of it like a muscle, and your ability to self-connect is like a muscle.
Yeah.
So if you go to the gym and get that muscle, you do one workout, that might feel good. That's not going to strengthen the muscle to where you have increased strength and capacity.
Mm.
So when you go to the gym and you regularly go, you maintain this muscle and you maintain that capacity. That's what's so important. It's that you're doing this for the rest of your life. And Mark, you don't have to do it with Mark. Mark is teaching you how to do it, but you can do it yourself. You can do it with other people. You can do it with friends. But he has the ability to bring in lots of different modalities, nonviolent communication, IFS, some Hakomi type therapy, a lot of self work, and he's got just an empathic, warm soul. You put that all together, you have this beautiful recipe for a healing environment, and he can teach you how to do it. In fact, I work with Mark, and he helps me build that muscle. And it wasn't until we started working regularly, we actually meet a few times a week. And it wasn't until that happened to where I really saw differences in my ability to self-connect, what's going on, navigate challenges differently, and do all the skills that he's going to show, or some of the skills he's going to show today. So it was that regular, continued work over and over again that really cultivated a beautiful skill set.
Mm.
What was the third thing you mentioned with an H, I think?
Hakomi, Hakomi.
I have no idea what that is.
Mark can tell you about it. It's a somatic-based psychotherapy.
Nice. Nice.
So putting all that together, you get this really wonderful experience.
Wonderful. Well, should we, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, so maybe in this case, a demonstration is worth 1,000 words. Should we bring him on, or should we just like spend the whole hour talking about how great he
Let's
is?
just talk about him. We'll have the big reveal with the last minute or two. No, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding. Let's bring Mark on. I think it'll be really helpful to actually see the work.
Okay. Well, welcome, Mark. Thanks for being here.
It's an honor. It's an honor to be here, AJ. Thank you so much.
Because we feel this is a little hard to talk about, but let's just say Matt and I weren't here. If somebody was just saying, "Who are you and what do you do?" How would you describe the work you do?
Mm, I'm calling myself right now. My current title, self-proclaimed title, is a trauma and connection focused life coach. But I would say ultimately I'm a connection coach. I help people to connect to themselves deeply, and I help people to connect to others from that space of self-connection. And so I would say that put it in a nutshell, that's it. Yeah.
Mark, can you share why people should care about connecting to themselves? I think sometimes people don't even know what that means. So maybe you could
Yeah.
explain, what do you mean by connecting to yourself, and why should somebody care about that?
Appreciate that. Yeah, of course. Life, as I see it, is lived when, to the fullest, when we are in touch with what is going on in our bodies. Feelings, emotions are ultimately sensations in our body. And when we are in touch with what is happening in our bodies, when we are in touch with the vibrations that we feel in relation to other people, we can speak from that. And there's a quality of being able to speak from what's happening in our body that makes our time with other people rich and alive and vibrant. And when we have conversations with people and it's just on an intellectual level, that can still be very fun and stimulating. But what I love to do is help to bring people more into their felt experience, more into what it's like to feel and then to speak from feeling, and to do that in connective ways. And so that's maybe a short answer to why is it important to be self-connected, because it's from that place that we can connect with others in a very rich and beautiful and meaningful and vibrant way.
So if people are used to connecting verbally, cognitively,
Yeah.
what are they going to what are they going to feel is missing when they're not doing the body or felt sense? And what are they going to see become different when they start connecting to the body and felt sense?
I want to say that, first of all, that transition from maybe relating on a more cognitive level might be a bumpy road. When we start getting in touch with what's going on in our body, let's just face it, they're not always pleasant sensations. So there could be some volatility at first when we begin to tap into what is going on in our bodies. Oftentimes it could be unease. We could feel uneasy with people. We might feel anxious around people. We might feel sometimes a sense of dread. So it's not going to be all bed of roses smelling. In fact, it's like if someone regains the ability to smell, that can bring pleasant smells as well as unpleasant smells. But what they'll begin to do is begin to taste more of the flavor of life. They'll be more in touch with what is happening. And then the practice is, how can I not just be with that experience in myself, but how can I actually begin to be with other people with these experiences? There's a phrase in a psychodynamic model called accelerated experiential dynamic psychotherapy, where the term is, how do we feel and deal while relating? And I think that's a beautiful way of summing it up. How can I feel and be with what's going on and still relate to other people at the same time? It's a practice. It's a practice, and it it I think will unfold in its own way for each person. And it might be bumpy, but I can tell you that it's worth it. So I don't know if that
Yeah,
answers the
yeah,
question.
and it's still I know it's something that's I've always struggled with is just it's counterintuitive. Your
Mm,
body is naturally designed
yeah.
for pain avoidance.
Yes.
Go towards pleasure and avoid pain.
Yeah.
So this is saying let's not, let's go towards the pain a little bit, or let's
Yes.
go, let's not just try to avoid the pain. So
Yes.
how would you it doesn't that seem a little bit counterintuitive?
Mm, yes. Absolutely. It's counterintuitive. I think especially in our culture where we prioritize more positive feelings, more positive emotions. It's not um, it's not attractive in our culture to be with sadness. We don't post sad pictures on Instagram or Facebook. We don't show the dejected states that we often find ourselves throughout the day. We get waves of feelings. Different feelings will come up based on different experiences. Maybe a sense of dread comes up when you think about having to call the insurance company to try to resolve a bill. That's part of life. How do I be with that rather than just eat something or watch something in order to make that feeling go away? And so um, I forgot the question. Matt.
Well, I've just you definitely touched on it, and I think that
uh,
that's helpful. Maybe I can frame it a little differently. We talk
mm,
about sometimes when we work together watching a movie, and you're
yes.
with the feelings like they're in a movie, and you're letting this beautiful story unfold.
Yeah.
Versus, and there's going to be sadness, happiness, fear, all sorts of different feelings.
Right.
And not only do we watch it, we will pay to see it.
That's right.
So there's something appealing about being with unpleasant emotion,
Hmm.
and then but trusting that and in fact we won't pay to see a movie where people are just happy all the time.
That's right.
If the entire an hour and a half they're just happy all the time, we like to see the whole range. But
Hmm.
there's something shifts when it's in ourselves. But what
Yes.
you've done is said, hey, watch it in yourself like you're watching a movie. Be
Yeah.
with it and just watch the story unfold and trust that there's going to be this natural flow. And for
Mm,
some reason, it's just very hard for people to grasp, including myself, especially early on, that watching that movie take place in your body at any point around any experience
mhm.
is the secret.
Yeah.
Can you sort of just share a little bit about your reaction to that?
Oh yeah. I'm so grateful for how you brought that with such clarity, that dynamic. 100%. We get so lost, I think, in that experience of feeling certain emotions like sadness or grief or fear or anxiety, where we get so in internal family systems, they call it a blended state, where all I can see is through the perspective of fear. All I can see is through the perspective of worry or doubt or dread. And the value of being able to unblend from that part of us, that ability to begin to maybe feel it in our body, acknowledge that I am bringing my warm presence to this experience of dread and beginning to watch it and be with it is an absolute game changer for the emotional experience. Like you said initially, the goal isn't to make it go away, but so much suffering happens when we have an experience and we don't like it, when we have an experience of dread and we hate that experience. And what we do is we take a sensation or a state of being, we believe it, and then we have a judge that starts to judge it. So not only do we have a part of us that doesn't like it, a part of us that says we shouldn't be having it, we have a part that feels shame for maybe having it. We have this complex emotional experience that we get stuck in. And this practice that I invite people into is, how can I create some space in myself Like you said, how can I begin to watch it almost like a movie? How can I begin to relate with warmth and understanding to this dread, this part of me that feels dread, this part of me that's criticizing me, this part of me that says, I don't like this whole experience, and this part of me that feels shame? The very ability to begin to separate these different voices, these different emotional experiences, brings so much spaciousness in our system that although the problem hasn't been resolved, there's more peace, there's more capacity, and there's more flow.
Yeah. And that's, I think, the goal is, if your goal is inner peace,
Yes,
then this makes a lot of sense.
that's right.
And this stuff really works. And I think that's ultimately what people are searching for, even if they're not aware of it. That's, I think, that sense of inner peace and grounded, you sense.
Yes.
So, yeah, I think it would be really helpful to show this.
Mm.
Um, and, real quick though, to be with all of the experiences, one of the things that AJ did that was so helpful is that she'll tell you what she likes and doesn't like.
Yes.
And you've always said that that's so important, is to tell me when you think this is stupid, to tell me when you don't like this, to tell me when you love it, to tell me when you hate it, to tell me when you don't feel like coming, tell me when
Mhm.
you're bored. All of those emotional experiences
Yep.
are essential to you being able to support them and self-connect. But people are taught to be polite, to suppress the ones that are impolite,
Mhm.
and it makes it very hard for the work to work.
Mhm.
So it's
Yep.
showing up fully.
Yep.
And I think that's one of the things that I love about AJ, is that she'll be like, this is stupid. This
Mhm.
is woo. Oh, well, I like this, and it's that full 100% committing, 100% present showing up that really will determine who's successful or if you're
Mm.
not successful.
Mhm. So true. We inhibit, we don't allow the process to unfold when we have doubt that's unnamed, when we
Mhm.
have um, skepticism, when we have parts that are frustrated with the process, and the person is not doesn't feel comfortable to share that.
Yeah.
I always will start a session by saying, anything that comes up, please share it. It could even be a sense like, this is bullshit. I don't buy this. Please let me know. It's
Yeah. I
all,
remember working with you. I had a part that would say,
yeah.
you know, but it wanted to be polite, because you would say, well, how do you feel about that part?
Mhm.
And I'd
Mhm.
be like, will you stop asking? I didn't say it out loud, but I'd be like, will you stop asking me how I feel about this part? And I would be like a little
Yeah.
bit annoyed, but I didn't tell you that. And it
Yeah.
wasn't until I started really being comfortable s- talk, talking about all the parts and talking about all the feelings, that the work could work. So there's going
Yes.
to be people that start working with you that will say, I don't know if this works. I don't know. But often I find, not to place blame, I think we sometimes, including myself, suppress what we're really feeling. We're not connected to it because we just learned that that's not acceptable.
Right.
But to trust that, it's almost like the food, when people tell us the food isn't working, whole
Mm.
food, plant-based, and it's not the food. It's often they're missing a part of the diet, or they're tweaking, or they think they're doing one thing and they're actually, they're doing something else they didn't realize gets in the way. But if you show up fully, this stuff works. Just like
Yeah.
if you eat the diet, if you follow the diet fully, the food works. And sometimes we just need help tweaking the diet or tweaking how we show up emotionally. And I think that's the magic of working with you over time.
So appreciate that. Yeah,
Yeah.
the space is it's not a sacred space. Anything goes. There's parts that are resentful, parts that are bitter, parts that are jealous, parts that just have evil, murderous intent. It's in fact, I don't even see it as such. It's
Mm.
just it's a part that's angry, and we
Yeah.
we create space for it. We hear it. We listen to it. We get to know it. We
Yeah.
yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, good. So, AJ, you want to jump into the the
Yeah.
demonstration part, or Mark, do you have something else?
And honestly, I would do it if it would be helpful to people, but it's hard for me to do it if, because I'm running a show here. There's a lot going on with the tech. It's not like I'm afraid to do it. I would love to do it because I feel like, there's a saying, the only way out is through. And to me, that's kind of what this work is, dealing with like maybe emotions that are unpleasant or things that you didn't want to feel. I think people are afraid of it though, Matt, because I feel like I think everything in our world is set up so that we don't have to feel. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly. We're trying to get away from those unpleasant
Yeah,
feelings,
I
not
mean that's
walk towards
basically,
them.
I'm not on social media anymore. I mean, obviously I'm on YouTube, but I left it a long time ago. And so I don't look at Facebook or Instagram or any of that kind of stuff. But that, I mean, so many people that is, I mean, I feel bad because that's, I want to present what I'm doing there, but I think everything in this world is designed so that we don't have to feel our feelings.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. And it's causing a lot of pain for a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, those that are interested will try it. So why don't we bring on Rebecca? Rebecca's been on the show before for other reasons, and you're welcome to check her out because she has an incredible story of healing from the inside out. And she's lost over 200 pounds with a whole food plant-based diet. And she's told that story. She's actually going to be one of the upcoming speakers on the Truth About Weight Loss Summit, sharing her story again. But I told her about Mark because she actually was already into this kind of work, IFS, and she really resonated with him. And so, Rebecca, welcome to the show. Thank you for being so brave.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, yeah, I didn't even know you were doing this work. I mean, I could have had you sooner.
Yes, I'm very happy that you mentioned this to me because I have been looking into this for a couple of years now, on and off, and it didn't really hit home until I had Inside Out actually helped, Inside Out 2 help bring it home. But I'd been reading books and talking to a therapist here and there, but I just wasn't ready for it to take. And then you mentioned Mark to me, and we had a couple of sessions. Mark can tell you within 5 or 10 minutes, we were off and running with going into a deep session, which was awesome.
Well, I feel like for people that want more understanding of this work, I mean, there are books by Dr. Richard Schwartz and others, and I listened to them, but it didn't make me understand it. But watching that movie and watching both the movies back to back, it's like, oh, so that's how I understood it.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll let you two take it away now, and I'll be silent.
Rebecca, again,
Hello. Hi.
so grateful for your willingness to do this here so much.
Absolutely. I'm happy to do it.
I just want to say to the audience first that Rebecca and I have been working for, was it been maybe about over a month now? Two months now?
Almost 2 months. Yeah.
About 2 months now. And Rebecca and I have already talked about this session in terms of just her really honoring her own system, really building trust in the system so that anything that comes up during this time, she has already made an agreement with herself that if it's private or more private than she really wants to share, she's going to keep that to herself. And we will just work with whatever she is willing to share. And I also want to say too that that Rebecca is advanced in this practice. Rebecca has a relationship with herself that is more developed, and it's an inspiration to work with her and to support her in this practice because of her hunger to be more self-connected and to experience more healing in her system. So as you see, when we begin this demonstration, you'll notice that Rebecca already has a lot of inner clarity. And so I really want to just say right from the beginning, not to be discouraged if you see how quickly Rebecca is able to connect with herself. It takes a lot of time and practice and a lot of self-connection to even get to a place, I think, where Rebecca can move with so much ease through her own system. So I just wanted to say that first. Rebecca, I am would love, I think, in this moment for us just to take a few moments to get comfortable in our bodies.
Can I add one thing for everybody to what you said
Yes.
about
Oh,
taking time? It is
Yeah.
worth it. I have tried and gone back and restarted reading the book, gave up. I read the book and about IFS, and I said, I don't get this. And then a few people explained it. I was at a conference where it was presented and the light turned on and I went back to the exact same book and the clouds parted. Everything started to align. I realized the therapist I had been seeing was doing that already, but for a number of reasons, I couldn't really get on schedule with that person anymore. And, I just hoped and prayed. And then all of a sudden I found you. So I just wanted to say it is worth it to stick in there for yourself, because I am a people pleaser. I get the sucker medallion that Doug Lyle talks about. And this is teaching me a lot more about myself than I ever thought it would. So it's worth it for the investment in yourself.
Mm,
I just wanted to say that. Sorry.
beautiful. So glad you did. Wonderful. Hmm. I would imagine that for both of us, we both have maybe parts of us that might be slightly uneasy, maybe nervous. I know that I do, to do a live demonstration. So almost in this moment, true to my own practice, I'm asking any part of me that might feel some nervousness or anxiety if it would give me some space so that I can be fully present with you during this time. And I would imagine too that in yourself, if there's any type of parts that are concerned, any type of part that might be nervous, I'd love to hear that in this moment as you maybe feel into your body. Take a few conscious breaths before we start. Just notice any type of tension that might be there, or pressure, and maybe bring some breath to it. I'm curious if this morning you have something that you would enjoy exploring.
Yes, there's actually been something that's just been bubbling up in me over time, but I think this week events have just brought me to the point of exhaustion, and it's a part of me that is feeling overwhelmed with how people close in my life, family members, and specifically, I just feel like I'm taken advantage of constantly, and I'm
Mm,
just here for their convenience. And I'm at the point where I'm breaking.
mm,
Even the closest family members have done things to hurt me, and I'm tired of carrying that burden. Even the people pleaser of me is saying it's enough. I'm done.
mm, mm. All right. That sounds like a beautiful place for us to be in. In this moment, as you share that, is there a place in yourself, maybe in your body, where you can feel that I'm done?
In my stomach, it's a
Yeah.
knot in my stomach.
Mm,
There's, and that is tied to that part we've identified. It's rage. I can already feel rage. I hear her.
mm,
She's kind of owning this with this other part. She's bringing this part to me, saying we're done.
mm, mm. All right. So it sounds like you can feel the presence of rage. Absolutely. And there's also that experience you're feeling in your stomach.
Hmm.
Are they the same part, do you think? Can you kind of feel, or does rage feel separate and this other part in your stomach that you're feeling right now, does that feel distinct from rage? Can you tell?
I think they're separate parts. I feel, but they are connected. They
Mhm,
are
mhm.
definitely this part that is just done is definitely triggering rage.
Okay. So then let's do this. For the time being, see if rage would be willing to give us a little bit of space so that we can maybe connect to the part in your stomach. See if she would be willing, or if there's more she wants to say first.
Willing to give the space, but going to stand right by it. She's not leaving, standing
Perfect.
very close,
Perfect.
guarding, if you will.
Oh, yeah, let her know that at any moment she can push the red button and come on in. So she's all the power, but we appreciate the cooperation. Absolutely. Great. So thank her for that space. And then maybe as we focus on your stomach right now, can you feel that presence of this part of you, this one that's saying I'm done?
Hmm.
Okay. And is it okay to be with that for a few moments?
Yeah, oddly, the sensation has shifted up into my jaw area, like almost like
Okay.
a not a lock jaw, but like a clenching feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. And so would you say then that basically it moved from the stomach to the jaw? Or is it still
Yes.
in the stomach too? Okay.
No, it's kind of moving up almost as if to
Ah,
say we're ready to,
ready to speak,
yeah.
ready to talk. Yeah. And again, just so that we're kind of maybe clear on what is currently up right now. Can you tell, is that the part, is that rage or is that this other part? Can you tell?
That's the other part.
It is. Okay.
Nothing.
Great. So then let's do this. Let's first check to see the quality of connection we have with this part of you right now that says I'm done. How do you feel toward this part of you?
I feel love, care, and concern. I'm genuinely worried about this part for a
Yeah.
number of reasons.
Hmm.
Care for myself as the self, understanding that we can't do this anymore. I'm worried about what will happen if we don't address it. I might explode and
Hmm.
say things that I will regret, or do things to not physically,
Yeah.
but do things to people, and more importantly to myself. You know, AJ mentioned I'd lost weight. There's always that fear that I'll just go into the corner and engage the other parts that
Mhm.
feed me
That's
with
right.
those things I shouldn't be eating. So there are a lot of concerns in here.
Absolutely. Sure. Sure. And Rebecca, are you okay for the sake of our audience if I maybe will make some parenthetical points in terms of this process as well?
Absolutely.
Okay. The question that I asked Rebecca, everybody, is how does she feel toward this part of her, this part that's saying enough is enough, I'm done. The part now kind of present more in her jaw. How do you feel is an important question in this work because it allows us to see if there's any resistance toward us getting to know this part. And as we asked that question, what came up was concern. There's concern around this part that's getting to the point of maybe making some choices that other parts of Rebecca will regret. And so, what we're going to do in this moment, before we actually even begin to connect with the part that you're noticing that's saying, I'm done, is maybe we'll turn to the parts that are concerned. There's concern that's present right now around this part that's had it. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So, what we're going to do first is turn to the parts that are concerned because we can't really make any ground in connecting to the part that's saying, I'm done, while there's concern in our energetic space. So let's turn to the concern. Let's turn to those parts that are concerned about the part of you that's done. See if you can kind of feel or sense those parts that are really concerned with this part that's had it.
It's like a parent when a child is starting to have some kind of stressor or something, like a concerned parent or caretaker that's standing there, you know, hand on shoulder kind of thing, saying, I'm just worried about you. So
Mm.
I'm trying to explain it so that I can help people understand it, but that's how I see it. That's how it's presented to me, as a, you know, I'm worried about you. You need to calm down. I'm just worried about you. That we all have those people in our life that are like, hey, what's going on? So
Beautiful. Makes sense, right? That it's
I see it.
almost it's almost like a warm concern. I'm concerned
Yes.
about you. Yeah, I don't want you to make a choice that you're going to regret. Absolutely. And that makes sense, doesn't it, Rebecca?
Yes.
Go ahead and let that party know you get that. You get that concern, that you can absolutely appreciate why this party is concerned that the part that's had it might make a move that you might regret. Yeah? How does this concerned part respond to your acknowledgement?
There's understanding.
Mm-hmm.
That part hears it,
Mm-hmm.
but there's still that concern.
You
Again,
bet.
the way it's presented to me, it's kind of like, you know, if you're at a hospital and you're with somebody that's ill and you're worried about them, and the doctor comes out to say, we understand, we're going to take good care of her. And it's just that, but it's
Yeah.
that she's hesitating, but understanding
Mm-hmm.
It's time to
That's
take
right.
the hand off the shoulder and let trust in all of us.
Mm. So ask her if there's more, because you can let this part of you know, this concerned part know that our desire in getting to know the part that's had it is to see if we can help this part, to see if we can also maybe help other parts that are contributing to this sense of your being taken advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
Let this concerned part know that in order for us to really be able to connect with this part that's had it, we need some space. See if the concerned part is willing to just maybe soften back and rest, or if there's more that it would like to say first.
There's a willingness. It's just that I can't explain it, but it's just that feeling of, but okay.
Yeah,
But much like Rage, who's still standing right here,
yeah,
there's that I'm going to be planted right here watching everything you're doing.
good.
Because if you can't help,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be there because I'm worried.
100%, 100%. And just please let that concerned part know we get that. That makes sense. And our desire is to do what we can to help bring harmony in the most effective way possible. So, so do you get the sense that the concerned part is willing to give us a little bit of space so that we can get to know?
Mhm. The space
Okay.
is there. The space is now there. I feel that space, that part that's done. That's
Mhm.
the best word I can come up with right now, is just kind of standing there free form,
Mm.
close enough to grab somebody, Rage or care and concern. Either way,
Absolutely.
arms
Great.
arms distance away.
That's just what we need. Yeah, you can just thank them both again for the cooperation. It means so much. Good. So then let's turn back now to the part that's had it. That part that you can feel maybe now more in your jaw. How do you feel toward this part of you right now in this moment? Comes up.
Feels the same. It feels like it's just carrying that burden,
Yep.
still frustrated,
Mm-hmm.
but there's that glimmer, can't explain it, like of hope, kind of looking up from just disheveled, like what's happening here is something.
Mm-hmm.
Are you bringing me help? Are we going to get out from under this? Because this part has been paying attention to all of the other parts that we've been talking to.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that hope, we've talked about this, Mark. There's like a conference room that I have full of my parts,
Yeah.
and we all pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
And this done part is just kind of looking, when I brought up, but well, we'll see, but okay.
Yeah.
Like all of my parts do. They trust. I'm a little more trusting than most. It's my personality, but there's still that cautious optimism.
That makes sense to you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Why it would feel this way?
Yeah.
That it's looking around hoping that there's going to be maybe some form of better relating to
Yeah.
where this experience of being taken advantage of is going to be met with some sort of resolution.
Yes.
Go ahead and let this part know that you can really appreciate how much it wants that and how it's really getting to the point of enough is enough. You might ask it too if there's more that it wants to share, more that it wants to share about its frustration, more that it wants to share about its sense of I've had it in this moment.
Nothing more right now.
Yeah. Yeah. You might ask this part and check in with it. And you might ask, what right now does it see as being the problem, and what is contributing right now in your system for it to feel this way?
What do you, can you
Yeah.
expand?
Yeah. So it sounds like this part of you's had it, right? It's enough is what I'm getting from this part. it would be sweet to hear from this part of you what it would love to see. What is it that it's wanting right now?
It would love to see freedom from everybody on my family, particular from hanging on to me. You know, I take care of, I love my father dearly, but I do care for him. There are people in the house that he lives in that drain me. There are external family members that drain me. There are constant things that I have to do to take care of that house, to take, you know, just so that everybody else can live their life. And it's just unfair. It's a legacy that my mother left me, and I'm just so done. But I'm in a position where I'm stuck, and I'm feeling it. I think because not too long ago, my father, who's like my world, said something that was very hurtful to me, and it almost broke me. And that's what made me realize of all people, you know, and a little girl wants to count on her daddy. So, but it's just, I was at that point. It's like, I'm doing everything for everybody. That was that proverbial straw on the camel's back, on my back. It was just like, wow.
That's right.
And I'm trying to be kind, I'm trying to be forgiving, but at the same time, I have to honor my feelings.
Yeah.
And it's been hard because once that happened, I've just been paying more attention. The work that we've been doing has helped me to dialogue with parts. But I realized there was a gap because we haven't gone into this area before. We've been dealing with food and my mom and all these other things. And now there's this. My family's been an issue. We've never talked about this, but when my dad said what he said, it just threw me so far back. And now everybody else in the family who's doing what they've always done, I'm just like, ugh. And this part is just like, I'm done with you guys. I'd like to say some words that wouldn't be allowed here, but I've had some choice words.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I bet.
And she's just tired of it. It's like she just wants to throw the load off of her and say, you know what? Done with you all.
That's
But
right.
I can't.
But I can't.
My father is special. He's my dad. But everybody else, I wish I could, but there's just circumstances beyond my control.
Yeah, that's right. How are you feeling toward this party right now?
I hear her. I 1000% agree. I understand where she's at. I'm proud of her for finally pushing forward in this crowd. You know, there are people in my life who would say it's about time. Can't change what's happening, but I can deal with what's happening. I can sit with this to try to make my life easier. You know, I can't make it go away, but I can make it better so that it can exist more happily in me and not eat away at me and then make me jump under the blankets with some kind of food that I shouldn't be eating and have my pity party, which I'm constantly thinking that'll help, and I know it won't.
Rebecca, in this moment, I think what would be sweet is to really let that part of you know you get that. That you get how much this part of you has had it. That you just feel warmth and compassion. What's coming up right now as you maybe let her know?
Appreciation for acknowledgement. I mean, I do a lot for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Most of which I do willingly from my heart because I love them. It's my family that is special.
Yeah.
Once saw a bumper sticker that said, "Friends are God's way of apologizing for the family he's given you." And I couldn't agree more. And my family has put me through some stuff. So giving this this acknowledgement and letting her know that I hear her and I see her, and
Mhm.
having Rage standing next to her and having Karen Concern standing next to her, she feels supported. She feels understood.
Beautiful.
She feels like they're willing to help. Like I can almost see them trying to lift the load off of her, saying, you don't have to carry this.
Mm.
I will have to carry this load until my dad transitions, but I just want to understand that part that she's been trapped and she's
Yeah.
just been wounded. And it's exhausting.
Yeah.
It's exhausting. And
I
she's
bet.
happy to hear that I acknowledge her.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, give her that love, give her that acknowledgement. Let her know that you can see how trapped she's felt. Yeah. How done she is. Let her ask her if there's more she wants you to know or feel right now about what it's like to be or feel trapped. To care about the family, to care and to love them so much, and yet to not be able to almost currently make a change that can maybe protect her more. You might ask her if there's more she wants you to know.
Yeah. She wants me to know that she just hasn't felt appreciated from the family specifically
Mm-hmm.
for everything that she's done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a family thing. This is, and it's
Yeah.
just a certain part of my family, not all of my family. There's just a certain group that tend to just, I feel like we are looked at as an endless resource. That's
Mm.
okay. She'll take care of it without even thinking about it, I don't expect
Mm.
a lot,
Mm.
but just recognizing that I'm doing the best with what I have, and
Mm.
she just doesn't feel appreciated by the family. It's not a
Yes.
friends thing. This is a family thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And how does that make her feel to not be appreciated by the family for how you've been supporting and contributing throughout these years?
It sucks. It just
sucks.
hurts, and it's
It hurts.
aggravating. And
That's
that's where Rage comes in, and Rage is just like, exactly. You see what I mean? This is what
Yeah.
we've been putting up with.
That's right. Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's just hard. And I know people are going through so much. The people on this channel are going through so much, but this is just you're asking me, I'm giving you
That's it.
my part, where I'm at with my parts.
100%.
But
Mm-hmm.
it is draining. And
Oh, yeah. Very
I
much.
would like to ease that burden for her.
Mm. Maybe let her know that. Let her know how much you want to be able to ease that burden, that pain of not having your care count, that pain of not having it seen or appreciated. That's a real pain. Yeah. And that you can really get that. If that feels genuine, just really let her know. Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm feeling so much tenderness for this part of you right now. You might ask her if there's something that she would like from you right now. Maybe anything that you can give this part that would be sweet in this moment.
The acknowledgement has been enough. That has been for us starving for any kind of
Mm-hmm.
appreciation or acknowledgement. Just this conversation
Mm-hmm.
is feeding that part.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Beautiful. Beautiful. So it sounds like being able to receive some acknowledgement and appreciation from you
Mm-hmm.
is feeding that need to some degree. You might ask this part of you too, what, how it would like to be protected from you, or how it would like you to protect this part from maybe the burden that it's been holding. Is there anything that comes up when you ask this part of you? Is there a way that you can help support this part of you right now as you're learning new ways to be and learning new ways to carry self-energy with your family.
Surprisingly, she's, wow. It's kind of like turning and looking at me, the self, saying, woman up, man up, but the woman version of step it up and grow a spine.
Okay.
Because I just take it. It's how I was raised, to just take it. But she knows that I can do this. I've been showing signs of it, but it's just basically step up and protect all of us.
Yeah. And how's that like for you to hear from this part of you, Rebecca?
It's not surprising. Myself and probably many other parts that I can't identify right now are just kind of like embarrassed, looking away like, yeah, there's some validity in that statement. And there is a lot of work that I need to do on that. Part of it is, like I mentioned earlier, I've got that people pleaser side. So it goes into fear of, but what if they don't like me? And
absolutely. That's right.
I have to. It's like that part is turning around, arms crossed, just looking at me going, told ya. And for me, it's, I own it. I will take it. But I know full well I can't commit 100%. I know that I can do what I can do and just keep trying. For my own good.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it sounds like too that there's going to need to be some cooperation and maybe even some healing. We haven't spent a lot of time with the part of you that pleases. We haven't really had a chance to get to know that part very well yet. And I would imagine that being able to be with that part of you, to get to know it, to see, and to be with it, and to see what happened that made this part of you necessary.
Yes, that is a deep dive, but I'm game.
I think that in our future work, being able to spend time with this part of you and would definitely help this part that's had it. I would imagine that it's going to definitely be collaborative here, and that it's going to require internal cooperation and also to be able to protect this part of you. But for now, you might let this part of you know, the part that's had it, that we are going to continue the work and the practice of getting to know these parts, seeing what it is they're afraid of, seeing what it is that they are trying to protect you from, so that we can be with that fear. We can be with it. We can love in it. We can smell it. We can see if it's still relevant.
Yeah.
And so let this part of you know that we will absolutely work with the parts that might be taking on more than is good for your system, but that it's going to take some time. And that you're here in a new way for her. You might let her know that you're here in a new way, that you can turn to her and acknowledge her and give her that appreciation, that you can give that to her. That right now, you can acknowledge how hard she's working. I'm curious how she responds to maybe hearing that, if that's something that feels genuine for you to offer to her right now.
She's willing to accept it, but just kind of holding on to, but do you get it? Do you get just how there's choice words going on in here, but there's just expletives and of course rage is kind of the proximity is, I think, what's feeding into that. And it's her independent rage, not this is her own version of anger, not necessarily rage, but it's just, I'm so done, like scrape my teeth, done. Because they've taken and taken and taken And I will have to continue to give for some other reasons, but
Mm-hmm.
I can't change anything but myself. And that's what this part is, recognizing that for our own good and to protect our overall health. We just need to do this work, and we just need to coexist and find an outlet for it, which means other parts will have to get engaged. The people pleasing, maybe I can adjust it in time.
Mm-hmm.
She's just exhausted, and it's funny during the conversation, that feeling I get from the jaw dropped. It's gone, and it dropped back into my stomach. It's like I felt it. I don't know what happened, but I feel that, and it's not a knot in the stomach anymore. It's kind of a feeling like when you think your stomach's upset and then it's starting to feel better, that relief feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just done sitting down. It's kind of like, I'm done speaking. I'm sitting back down at the conference room table.
Okay.
Nothing more to say.
Is that right? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So before we maybe move on then, just to make sure that she does really feel seen and heard for right now from you, you might want to just check in and say, is there anything more that you want me to know about how you've had it? Or is this really all you'd like to share right now? Does she get a sense that you get her? Or is there more?
She's just in pain.
Just pain.
She's just in pain.
She's just a lot of pain.
And it's tied to so many things, but it's basically just that feeling. It's abuse.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let her know that. Let her know that. Let her know that this hurts so much that she can't see any other way of this than just that it's abuse. Really let her know that. Acknowledge that. Mm-hmm. You bet. Yeah. You might just check with her if there's more that she wants you to feel that way. Or if you get that for her, this is nothing short of abuse.
There's a lot of sorrow.
Sorrow. Mm-hmm.
And I know for certain after this, I'm going to need to lie down and cry for a while.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's just that sitting down. Don't talk to me.
Okay.
You've heard my stance.
All right. Yeah.
I've spoken all I can to this. It's just, you get me.
Okay.
Go fix it. That's
You
that
get me,
step
go
up.
fix it. Yeah. Okay. Well, then just let her know. Thank you so much for sharing today. And that is absolutely our goal, is to go and be with those parts that might be taking on more than is good for you, or at least beginning to build some boundaries that feel good with your whole system. And just let her know that we are on our way to create a system that really protects and honors not just that love you have for your family, but that need you have to protect your energy. Yeah. Good. So she's good then, huh? Right now?
She's
Well,
good.
she's not good, but she's done.
She's going to be, there's nothing further we can say to her. She can say to us right now.
Got it.
There's just some processing,
Of course.
some emotion. There's a lot of emotion that I can feel that wants to come out. A lot
Yeah.
of crying.
Yeah.
But I guess the last thing is, you said a lot of love for the family. Boy, she is just like, well,
She doesn't want to
wow.
hear that right now.
We love dad. We love
Yeah,
dad. We love
yeah,
dad. It's
yeah.
just all the rest. And again, choice words, but it's just a very strong, emphatic, it's a these people.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. So you just want to hear about love right now toward those people. The emotions that are coming up, are they coming from this part of you or are they coming from another part of you? Can you tell?
It's from this part.
It's from this
this
part.
part. This
Okay.
part needs to, part of the lifting
Mm-hmm.
is the crying. Oftentimes crying is a good cleanse.
Of course.
And I'm sure everybody on this channel with everything they're going through understands sometimes when your cup runneth over, you gotta fill it, you gotta empty it out. And
That's right.
crying is very cleansing.
Yeah.
And I feel it's coming up.
It's right there.
Coming up. Oh yeah,
Mhm.
it's right there.
Yeah. Absolutely. Sounds like there might even be a party that's wanting to keep it down for right now. Is that right?
And I think it's because this is
Mhm.
not just a you and me thing. There's other people, and I think it's more we don't want to cry with everybody watching, and I don't think we want to make people uncomfortable. There's the people pleaser, but
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's still.
Absolutely. Well, I think we want to honor. We want to
Mhm.
honor the fact that right now this is exactly as far as this party feels comfortable going.
Mhm.
I think what we can do for the purpose of this demonstration is maybe just turn right now. Thank so much that part of you that shared. Turn to both the concerned part as well as rage and thank them both for the space to be able to connect so beautifully with this part that had enough and that has
Mhm.
enough. And then just maybe do a final check just to see if there's any concerns, any type of worry about opening yourself in this way with this audience during this time. If there's anything else that's coming up that would be
No,
worth saying. Okay,
no.
beautiful. Rebecca, then if you're feeling complete, thank you so much. Thank you for letting this audience see a little bit of how we can connect deeply to different parts of ourselves and really be there and start this process of connecting in a way where we can build that harmony and agreement inside and forward
Mhm.
movement.
You know, one thing I am noticing, Mark, is that that feeling of rage
Yeah.
wandered off.
Mm.
I don't feel that like something, we all have this friend that wants to get us, like, come on, let's go fight or what, you have that part of you. It's like it wandered away
Mm-hmm.
because it realized it had no place to engage any longer.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like a detachment of that, and it was kind of good because then it's not triggering this done part.
Yeah.
And
Right.
this done part feels like it can process now. It doesn't need
Yeah.
to stay in anger, because anger is an easy emotion, and rage is an easy emotion. That's kind of how we've been operating for
Mm-hmm.
most of our life.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt a detachment of the rage.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like this part of you is moving to those deeper, tender feelings, which anger typically shields us from.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. And I would highly encourage you to have that wonderful cry after our time, because it sounds like that is an opportunity for this to move through you and for this
Yeah,
part to even be heard even more deeply. 100%.
absolutely.
Beautiful. Yeah, thank you so much, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Chef AJ, I say this would conclude our demonstration.
Well, thank you very much. Is there anything you want to conclude with, either of you? Because this is Thriving in the Face of Cancer Month, I did ask every guest the same question, and I don't know if this would be a good one for either of you, but what I've been asking them is, what message of hope would you currently give, would you give with someone currently facing a cancer diagnosis? I don't know if either of you could speak to that.
I personally cannot, but I've gone through that with my mother, and I've experienced, friends and have gone through it. And the message of hope is not to give up on yourself, not to give up on finding the comfort and the support. And I do think modalities like this can help in that it helps you to do away with emotions that don't feed you in the right way. So I just think that beyond anything else, just love yourself and love yourself enough to always want to turn over every rock and find any little thing that could help. And I wish everybody the very best, and I'm praying for everybody.
Mm,
Thank you.
mm, mm. I maybe would just simply add to that I too can't really relate to the different things that would come up. But what I can maybe offer is a way of relating to what comes up with yourself that can feel both close and intimate. And so that if there are feelings of dread, hopelessness, fear, that those can be met in yourself. I know for a fact can be met with warmth, with understanding. They can be met with accompaniment, so that if you don't have friends or relatives with you in that moment, that you can actually bring a sense of presence to those experiences, so that in a very real way, you can comfort yourself within those experiences of loneliness or dread or hopelessness, so that you don't have to feel alone while those are coming up. That would be the message and the hope that I might share.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. And thanks all of you for watching the series, Thriving in the Face of Cancer. We want you to know wherever you are in your cancer journey, as long as you're breathing, we believe there's still hope. We'll resume regular programming next week, starting on Monday at 11 a.m. with Dr. Joel Furman. Thanks for